Okay, these are both at 400. 600 is my next grit. And at 600, this will be ready for heat treating and tempering. And that will go up to 800 and get buffed and then heat treated and tempered. But in the meantime, yesterday, I sanded this down to bare shiny metal. Yesterday, late afternoon. And now look, just overnight, this is early morning, overnight, this is covered in rust. That's how humid it is right now, that you could just, when we wake up in the morning, it looks like we're in a cloud or like fog. It's so humid, you could just see it in the air. You could cut it with a knife. Alrighty, I have cleaned my shop and mopped the floor and my kitchen. I've cleaned my kitchen, my coffee pot. Right now I'm running white vinegar through the coffee pot, cleaning it up, cleaned up the outside of my coffee pot, filled up my refrigerator, and done. It's really not amazing, but this is how, when you feel sick and you don't feel good, how little things that you just let go, like cleaning my shop. It was all I could do to come out here and just make knives. I couldn't make myself clean my shop. Well, it's the same with the kitchen. My coffee pot was so messy and dirty, I just quit using it. I didn't have the energy to clean it. I felt so bad. Just little tiny things that you let go because you don't feel good add up. And then it becomes like a hopeless situation that everything's so dirty, it just doesn't feel like you can ever get it clean again. And that's kind of where I was when I came back out here. I went back to making knives, but I didn't clean nothing up. Now I have enough energy, and I feel good. I feel energetic. I feel positive, and my Harley thing is going to be solved Tuesday, and it won't be such a terrible ordeal like I thought it was going to be. So that's a real relief. We're going to be getting fencing. Or we're going to start Monday buying the fencing. And I talked about this the other day. We still have trees that are going to be in the way that we got to cut and just lay them back out in the woods. But we have an awful lot of work to do. But we're going to go ahead and start doing it because these dogs, at first they weren't going beyond where the fence used to be. But now that they know there's foxes out there that they can chase, they went beyond the fence and out into the woods, and we cannot have that. These dogs, if they were to get lost, all they've known is this kind of life here. They would die if anybody actually, found them and ended up treating them like dogs, because that's not what their lives are in. Plus, they're just too old to survive without their medicine and the kind of food that doesn't upset their stomach. And all right, I'm gonna get back to sanding. We're almost there. Oh boy. All right, this is the satin finish. I still gotta heat treat and temper it, but this is roughly what it'll look like. What I'll do is heat treat, temper it, and then clean it up with 600, and then put an 800 finish on it, and it will look sort of like this here. This is an 800 grit finish, and now I'm fixing to go put it on the buff the snot out of it, and then go heat treat and temper it. And I always do this, bite off more than I can chew, but wouldn't it be nice if I could, this is still early in the day, if I could get these heat treated, tempered, cleaned up, and get the handles epoxied on them, and tomorrow shape handles. We'll see. I still have a lot of other things I want. I'm still running white vinegar through my coffee pot, and I kind of want to clean up the rest of the trailer since I have neglected it for 2 years now. So I may just get this buffed and get both of these heat treated and tempered, and just go clean up the rest of the trailer, because that's going to be a big job, and there's no air conditioning out there, and so it's going to be really hot. Alrighty, let me get this buffed out. I'll show you what it looks like before I get it into the forge. You just don't know how hard it is to put a knife that I have done this much work on into the heat treating forge. because it's going to be all black and mucky when it comes out. And there's the chance, ever so slight, that there could be some carbon burn off on it. But we'll see. It's just a chance you take. Here's the thing. There is a way to avoid or minimize carbon burn off by sliding a thin gauge pipe in here and then sliding the knife inside the pipe. But here's the thing. This is a very, very small opening. I can't find any pipe. And the thing is, the roof of this thing goes up here. So let me open the other end, I'll show you. This is a Majestic 3-burner forge, by the way. It has been one hell of a forge. I've had this 6.5, 7 years now. And made a lot of knives with this forge. So I may do some engineering here, more redneck engineering. Cut this out, make it a little bit bigger. Find me a thin gauge piece of square tubing or even rectangular tubing. If the blade is not directly exposed to the flame, there's far less chance that there will be a carbon burn off. Although it doesn't make it non-existent, it just makes it happen on a far less frequent times. Okay, here's my Parks 50 very expensive oil that you can use for the rest of your life. I was using canola oil. Alrighty, let me get cranked up, get going here. All right, it is 10:30 in the morning, and neither knife has a warp in it. I won't know for certain until after I temper them, because sometimes the tempering releases a bit of a warp, but it didn't come out of the quenching liquid with a warp, either one, so that's good. And upon semi-close inspection, it does not appear to have any carbon burn off on either blade, so that's even better. It's looking good. So I'll be back in about 2.5, 3 hours when they cool down. There's a whole bunch of money right there. Belts. There's 3 belts, 4 belts in there, and a big belt, which is I think about $8 per belt. It might be more, I forget. But since I got my shop all cleaned up, this is your brain struggles with this. It's hard to take an old belt off and throw it away. Your brain says, oh, come on, you can get another knife or 2 out of that. Got a new blade, a new belt on that. These belts, that's 40, 60, 120. These are fairly new. I can get a few more knives out of them. Maybe not this one, because these lower grit ones, they wear out fast. So now the hardest part is getting this off. It's sticky backed, and you got to take the table off, peel this off, then you got to get acetone and soak the adhesive down that won't come off, and scrape it off with a razor blade. But this has had it. I've cleaned it. You know, I have a belt eraser, and they work great. If you don't know what these are, Harbor Freight sells them for cheap, and you just hold it up against this, and it knocks off a bunch of the sap and sawdust that's in there, and you can just about triple or quadruple the life of your belts using that. So it's a belt eraser, and I think I got one more here. I'm not gonna get up, I'm gonna wheel. Yes, I do. Matter of fact, I want to put this down where my other belts are. So I'll have to get the plastic off of that. Okay, about another half hour, and I'll have my blades out of the tempering oven, and I'll double check them to make sure they're not warped with my straight edge up here. And if they're not warped, I will commence with the handle cutting and fitting, and before the day's out, I'll have them epoxied on. That's if they're not warped. But yeah, I even got some new router bits. You know what that pin is for? I'll tell you. my wife has found a cheap place on Amazon to buy colostomy bags. You know, Medicare pays for 20, and you know, there's 31 days in a month. And I have realized that I don't feel clean unless I replace one every day. And my procedure is I take it off, I jump in the shower, I clean up real good, especially around that area, clean real good, get all the old adhesive off, and put a brand new bag in, and I sleep like a baby. And here's another weird thing. I don't know if my body is doing this on purpose or if everybody's body operates like this. Okay, when I put a brand new bag on at night and go to bed, there's nothing in it when I wake up in the morning, and this is every single time. So, does your body not move it on through when you're sleeping? I don't know. But it's worked like that for me, and I'm happy about that, because I have worried about, you know, that happening at night and something terrible happening, like, you know, the bag coming open or coming off or something like that. So, for about 2.5, 3 weeks now, I've noticed that when I go to bed, put a new bag on, go right to bed, and overnight nothing is in the bag when I wake up in the morning. So I can sleep any way I want, and I am now. I'm sleeping on my left side, which I'm a left side sleeper, and I have been my whole life, and the reason is my back. The only way I can sleep comfortably and not wake up a million times through the night is on my left side. So anyway, here's what the pin is for. We found these cheap bags on Amazon, and I'm replacing them every day. I wouldn't wear one of these cheap bags if I was like going to the doctor's or going to church or something like that. But these cheap bags don't let the gas out. And I eat a lot of cucumbers, let's just say that, and the other things that produce a lot of gas. So I take that little pin there and I pop 1 or 2 holes. Let me see what I can show you here without, yeah, there's nothing in there. So 1 or 2 holes up here, and it lets the gas out. Otherwise the bag does this number, it blows up and it gets this big, and you're walking around with this gigantic lump underneath your shirt. So that little pin there makes these little cheap $1.50, it's $1.50 a bag, and these aren't cheap. You got to be real careful with them. You can't go, you know, you don't want to go running or doing anything with them, because anyway, they stick, they work. I'm happy. All I got to do is pop a hole or 2 in with that pin, and problem solved. So I'm going to get this off. Boy, I sure do get off on some tangents. You know more about my colostomy bag than you probably ever thought you wanted to know. All right, I'm going to get that off, get to work on that. And by the time I get that all put together and the acetone, the adhesive off, and get the table put back on, the knives should be ready. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, everything's brand new. Well, except for that, and I got a few more cuttings left in that. Actually, I don't even, yeah, I got 2 more blades. One blade left. And a new router bit. And good Lord, everything's looking good. So let me go get the knives and get them in here and clean them up. I do not see carbon burn off. There might be some right there, but I won't know till I get this sanded up. Okay, I have, this is ready to have the handles epoxied. That's what that looks like. And that's going to be some pretty wood. That's going to shine up really nice. And I just dry fit everything to make sure there are no issues when I get to the epoxy point, because you got a limited amount of time to work with it. And this is the desert ironwood. that's gonna polish up real nice. All right, now that I'm done messing around with it and handling it, next thing is go buff this knife back out and then epoxy it, both of these, clamp them, and go to the house. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to do these tomorrow. Here's what happens sometimes. I get so pumped that I'm getting so much done, and all of a sudden I try to do too much at one time. And this is where I end up screwing things up. So I'm gonna epoxy the handles on this tonight. Tomorrow I will come out and shape these handles, and that'll just take me 2 or 3 hours. And then I will buff this and epoxy these handles together, because I'm telling you, when I get like this, I always end up screwing something up. So I'm gonna slow it down a notch. I'm gonna do this one today and get that one epoxied and handled tomorrow, and then Tuesday I'll shape the handle on that. Yeah, I do this a lot. Not a lot, but every time I start getting excited about getting so much done in a day, I end up screwing up something. So that's it. I'm going to epoxy this on, and tomorrow I will shape it. I've probably said that 3 times already. So have a good Monday. This is actually Saturday for me, but Sunday I have sort of a, I'm not going to call it a rant, because I wasn't ranting. I was just expressing an opinion. So you will see this Monday. And Monday I'm going to be in town all day. I've got to go see my surgeon. I don't know. They just want to make sure I'm not dead, I suppose. And then Monday afternoon, after we see the surgeon, we're going to go to Tractor Supply and start buying fence and T-posts, because we really got to get that fence up back there, because the dogs are starting to go beyond the typical boundary that they know where it's at, and I don't want them to get lost out in the woods there chasing the foxes. Alrighty, have a good Monday, y'all. She doesn't know where the sound is coming from. Come on, get out in the sun where I can get a better look at you. Man, we've got a regular zoo here. Raccoons, 4 fox, 3 babies and a mama, 2 deer. They look like yearlings. Okay, I got stuff I gotta do. Okay, Tom, you're home. I haven't seen you in a couple of days. Good hunting tonight, okay? Is anybody in there? No, you're usually in the right one, so leave him alone, Breezy. Leave him alone. Let him sleep a little. He's got a long night of bug catching ahead of him.